this is a very nice slide for the eyelid. As you see here, we have the skin very evident, very thin, no fat, and we have small hair follicles. Of course, the hairs are falling here in this section. Here we have the acidophilic striated muscle. This is the muscle orbicularis oculi, and this is the margin showing the follicles of the lashes in 2 rows. And here we have the palpebral conjunctiva formed of stratified columnar that shows some of the goblet cells, some empty spaces here. There are goblet cells present in this conjunctiva. The most important is the presence of this Meibomian gland, which is a large sebaceous gland, so it is vacuolated due to dissolving of the oily material during preparation of the section. So this is the Meibomian gland. Inflammation in the Meibomian gland will lead to chalcinosis. Also here, as regards the hair follicles of the skin here, the hair follicles are accompanied with sebaceous gland, which is called Zias gland, and apocrine sweat gland called Moll's glands. So take care. Here we have sebaceous called Zias accompanying the hair follicles, and apocrine sweat glands accompanying also in relation to the skin side. It is called Moll's gland. Take care that the inflammation of this Zias gland here will lead to the development of what is called stye. زي ما يكون يعني دمل صغير هنا في الاي lid. So this is called the stye, and inflammation of this will lead to the formation of the lesion.
This is the second slide in the eye presentation. You can see it is a section in the eyelid. On this surface, which is the skin surface, it is a skin which is keratinized, stratified squamous epithelium with no underlying fat. This is number 1. Number 2, here, this is 2. It is the palpebral conjunctiva formed of stratified columnar epithelium with goblet cell. This epithelium at the junction between the bulbar and the palpebral, it changes to stratified squamous epithelium with no goblet cells. Number 3, this is the eyelash. You can see the follicle of the eyelash. Here we have this one. This is also eyelash because I can see the hair follicle. Number 4, it is the striated muscle, voluntary muscle. Actually, we have 2 muscles in the eyelid, the orbicularis oculi for facial expression and levator palpebrae to open the lid, or to elevate the lid. Number 5 here, this is the tarsal gland, Meibomian gland, modified spacious glands. Any inflammation in this gland will lead to the formation of chalcinosis. Number 6, it is the dense connective tissue plate in which the Meibomian gland is present or embedded. This is another slide showing the section in the cornea. You can see the first layer, which is the non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium, number 1. Number 2, it is the Decimus membrane or anterior limiting membrane. Don't forget that it is formed of collagen fibrils, and it is very thick, as you know, to provide stability and strength for the cornea. Number 3, it is the substantia propria. It is formed of collagen fibrils also with keratinocytes in between. Collagen fibrils with keratinocytes in between, and they are called keratocytes. They are embedded in matrix or ground substance rich in lumican. طيب بعد كده number 4, it is the Decimus membrane or posterior limiting membrane. Don't forget, it is formed of collagen fibers, which actually it is the base membrane of the endothelium that will appear now in the fifth layer. Here, this is the fifth layer, which is the corneal endothelium, single layer of simple squamous epithelium, where it's forming the Decimus membrane, as we have said before, and it has also other important functions to be remembered, as keeping an optimum state of corneal hydration. This is a section in the retina. First of all, when you see this pigmented area, this is the choroid. This is pigmented brown, this is the choroid. On the right side of the picture, or on the right side of this choroid, we have these collagen fibrils that are irregularly arranged, and in between them we can see the fibroblast scattered in between these irregularly arranged collagen fibrils, or type 1 collagen bundles. After that, this is the choroid, which is vascular and pigmented. Then you will see the retina. Here we have the first layer. It is the pigmented epithelium of the retina. You can see the brown coloration. And this is the rods and cones layer. And then we have in this area the limiting membrane. Which limiting membrane? This is towards the sclera, so it is with the outer limiting membrane. Then we have the outer nuclear layer. Then we have outer plexiform layer, then inner nuclear layer, then inner plexiform layer, then the ganglion cell layer, then the nerve fiber layer, and here we have the inner limiting membrane. يبقى أهم حاجة إن أنت to localize the inner and the outer by looking for the sclera. Here it is the outer layer. Then we have the pigmented choroid. Then we have the pigmented epithelium of the retina. Then we have the rods and cones, outer limiting membrane, then outer nuclear layer, outer plexiform layer, inner nuclear layer, inner plexiform layer, and the ganglion cell layer one row. يبقى اللي نلاقيها one row دي الجانجليون على طول. يبقى ganglion cell layer, وبعدين هنا we have the nerve fiber layer, and finally we have the inner limiting membrane.
This is a picture for the retina. Once you see this pigmented layer, it is the choroid, and the outermost is the sclera. This is the choroid, and then we will have the first layer in the retina, pigmented epithelium, and the rods and cones, the outer limiting membrane, then the outer nuclear, outer plexiform, inner nuclear, inner plexiform, ganglion cell, nerve fiber layer, and finally on the surface we have the inner limiting membrane.
Now this is another picture also for the retina, different layers. Starting from here, it is the pigmented area, so this is the choroid. Then first layer here of the retina will be the pigment cell layer. Number 2 will be the rods and cone layer. Number 3, it is the outer limiting membrane because it is related to the choroid and hence the sclera, so it is outer. Number 4, it is the outer nuclear layer. Number 5, outer plexiform layer. Number 6, inner nuclear layer. Number 7, it is inner plexiform layer. Number 8, it is one layer of cells, so it is the ganglion cell layer. And number 9 will be the nerve fiber layer, and number 10 will be the inner limiting membrane. So you have two landmarks, the pigmented area related to the choroid, and the one row of cells, it is the ganglion cell layer, so you can arrange your answer in a perfect way.
This is the picture for the fovea, where there is a marked visual acuity in this area. Here we have reduced number of layers, as you see now. Here we have only a photoreceptor, we have only cones, and then we have, after this is the pigment epithelium, we have cones, we have outer limiting, we have outer nuclear. So this reduction is one of the causes of the high visual acuity. More than that, we have that the cones here are longer and more slender than any part elsewhere. The area or the photoreceptor here is specialized for discrimination of details and color vision. Area is devoid of retinal blood vessels, so allowing the light to pass unopposed into the cone's outer segment. The adjacent pigment cells here are highly thickened. The first slide in the exam identify the arrow. Here is the arrow. It is of course the muscle of the eyelid. You can say that it is orbicularis oculi. Here we have the arrowhead. It is the follicle of the eyelash. The curved arrow, of course, it is the meibomian gland. The green arrow points to the epithelium, which is non-keratinized stratified squamous epithelium. You should mention the type. The black arrow points to the Bowman's membrane, the start to the substantia propria. Identify the arrow here. The arrow, of course, you see that has brown pigment, so it is the pigmented epithelium. The arrowhead, of course, it is a membrane, and as it is related to the pigment epithelium, and here we have a choroid, so it is the outer limiting membrane. Then A, it is the outer nuclear, B, it is the outer plexiform layer, and or reticular layer, and C, it is the inner nuclear layer, and if we have here a label, it is the inner reticular layer, and then we have the ganglion cell layer. Then this picture identify the arrow. If you look to this picture, this row, one row, it is the ganglion. So this is the inner and this is the outer. So this is the outer nuclear layer, and this is the inner nuclear layer, and this is the ganglion cell layer. If you have other labels like this area, so this is the outer reticular or plexiform layer, and this is the inner plexiform layer. And of course, this is the nerve fiber layer.